What's going on, guys? My name is Darren. My wife and I do online and retail arbitrage since January 2025. We're documenting our journey, and today I want to show you guys a little tip on how to save money on boxes. So I know that boxes are very important to our business. We don't want to send product off without something to protect what's inside and then get a bad review. But we don't always have to pay for boxes. Shout out to Uline, shout out to Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, great places to get boxes. But there's an even better place to get boxes, and that's USPS. We do a lot of FBM, and what we were doing at first was paying for boxes, which if you hit those places I just named, they're not crazy expensive, but if you're doing a lot of volume, it gets to add up. So what we started doing was going to USPS and then getting the free boxes. Now the problem with that is if you're going to be using the USPS box, especially a priority box, you need to be using the postage to match it. So what do you do if you're selling something, let's say this small, these are basically the same size. But what if you are selling multi-pack, you know what I'm saying? Something like 3 boxes or something. Here's a little something that's gonna help. So these little priority small flat rate boxes, you break them down just like this. When I found this out, and they give them out for free. They give them out for free. They're already bundled up. They're so good to have in your office or your setup, man. So, and then it's got a little sticky right here, so you can peel it off and hit, and then just seal it up. But basically, these here, you can fit 2, 3, 4 deodorants in here. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're not using USPS, what do? You put it in a poly bag. So I'm gonna close that up, right? I put it in a poly bag, and then I print off my label, stick it on top of that. You don't know what's inside of there. So that's if you need to put something in a box. If something's got a really hard case, I would get a smaller poly bag. What was this one? I use 3 main sizes for poly bags. The biggest one is the one I use mostly, but I want to tell you guys, this one is the 10 by 13 inch. I use this one second, but so the 10 by 13 inch, it'll fit the small priority USPS flat rate box in there. If you don't need to put it in a box, then this bag right here, which you can't fit any of the free boxes in, it works really well too. Let me get the dimensions on there. It's gonna be, let's see, I'm gonna say 8 by 10, all right? I could easily just throw, I could easily just throw one of those or 2 of those in there. Actually, when I first started selling these, I wasn't using a box. I was just throwing a pack of 2 in there. And then just close that bad boy up, stick a label on. Any of these size things can fit in either a box or just a bag. Gave you guys the bag sizes already. But let's say you got something bigger than that. Then I use the priority mail. This one is the small box. Small? It's gotta be the small. I don't see where it says small on there right now. But this one is the medium. So I know this one is a small. The small, you just crack that bad boy open. Boom, boom. Now, I actually somehow ran out of tape, but that's okay. For this demonstration, I'm just gonna use some blue tape. I didn't want to use it as an excuse not to make the video. And then you just put whatever you need in that bad boy. Boom. Now, obviously, it would be all the same thing. I don't think this will fit. Nah, this won't fit. I mean, it would fit if you only had one. You know, it breaks down. But basically, you put whatever you need inside this little small, and then this 15 by 19 poly mailer. This is the one that I use most of the time. As a matter of fact, if you only want to use one, go for this one, because it fits everything in it. And then you just put that USPS box. When you get the sharp corners on the box, sometimes it wants to snag and create little holes. So I flip it upside down, and just guide it down. And then I will close this up. You don't know what box that is. You know what I'm saying? And the customer doesn't care. They just care about getting a clean presentation, and then the stuff that they order is protected. I'm gonna get into that medium. This is the last one. This is the biggest free USPS box that will fit inside this 15 by 19 poly mailer. I usually use this box for bundles. So, you know, this is the 3-pack right here. All 3, no problem. No problem, completely closes. I'm not gonna waste time on taping the box. But look here. Boom, get it started. Like I said, I don't want to create holes in the bag, so I flip it upside down. So yeah, let me get this out of the way. This week was just a quick video to show you guys how to save money on boxes. Not everything needs a box. You can just put it in a poly mailer. But for things that do need boxes, there's plenty of ways to get them for free. USPS is my favorite way. Get the small flat rate, medium, the small flat rate boxes that look like this, and then the small cube boxes, and then the medium boxes. Those 3 will fit inside the poly mailers I had in this video. And then any box bigger than that, just go to Walmart. They're pretty cheap there. I hope this helps, and if you guys got any questions, let me know. But listen, if you guys are on your Amazon journey too, I'm not a coach, I'm not a guru, I'm just out here, you know what I'm saying, trying to make friends and trying to make waves. Hit me in the DM if you guys want to source or get after it any kind of way, and I appreciate your support. Peace.